wolves.
He's counting us in.
2, 1. You were raised by wolves. Hello, welcome to this Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to Stream Street Day 180 days. Or something. I actually don't know. I just put 180 in, I guess. Welcome, everyone, to the show. I've got on the show today Mr. Val Heffelfinger. And on his birthday, some would say it's his 32nd birthday, there he is. Birthday Pete.
Yay, caca.
Also tired.
It's a slightly more morose than usual birthday, Pete.
I feel he's more sassy. I think he's more sassy today.
I'm a combination. It's like a platter. You get it at a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. If we could get some, I don't go to those.
With an egg roll.
If any of you guys could give Pete some birthday love in the chat, that would be nice. You got MJ Pegasus has thrown you one. T-Man Cash. DeBolt has as well. Oh, that's cute. That's great. So hello everyone, welcome to the show. It's actually been officially 6 months since the start of lockdown.
Wow. Wow.
And
wow.
And we've all changed. Val's had a baby. How is JVP?
Oh, JVP, top of the pops, man. And he's this is also an anniversary of his of some kind. I guess one shy of 2 months, 7 weeks. I feel like he's 8 weeks old though.
He might be.
He can't be 8 weeks. That's fast. That's too fast.
I was actually thinking that was surprisingly short period of time. He's fantastic.
Oh, that's good. Well, it feels fast to me, maybe because I haven't watched the little blighter do all sorts of fun things like become a burrito.
Oh yeah, no, I twist him up into a type burrito. I find that my earlier misspent youth of rolling doobies has actually made me really good at swaddling. I think that is actually.
I noticed. I commented the first time I saw your swaddle. I thought it was pretty on point. It was a good swad.
It's a tight roll, man. That's what I was known for, and I continue to be.
Tight roll, no filter. That's how it has to be.
Just don't juice it. Don't juice it. All right, boys.
Don't juice it.
Let's go. Take it away. How have you both been? Catch me up.
You do it, Val. I'm getting a glass of water.
Oh, I thought you were about to monologue. I thought you were like,
just getting a glass of water.
I need to get my mic close to my mouth. Well, Rob, what have I been up to? I have been building a lot of. No, I can't segue there already. But I have been building a F ton of Space Marines.
Oh, nice.
I'm preparing to hobby.
Preparing.
I'm doing my least favorite part of it all in one big go, which is building. I hate building.
Building is my favorite bit. Like, I don't understand that at all. No. Painting is tedious.
Maybe it's all tedium. Maybe I'm just pretending that it's something I'm going to do later.
Such as life.
But outside of that, I've returned sort of to work, which is good.
Oh,
I
excellent.
physically went to an office yesterday.
How was the walk down the promenade or the high street or any of that? Was
I
it
cycled? I cycled.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I live with like where all the people of means, the wealthy, if you will, live in Children of Men. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like my neighborhood. There's just like giraffes and hippos running around.
I've been, in fact, and I can attest. I could testify to that.
I live on the most English street in Toronto, actually.
Oh, really?
I would say.
What makes it English?
Well, we have the oldest housing stock in the city across the street from us. It was built in the 1860s or something.
Ooh, wow. It's not that old. But it's pretty old.
That's Confederation, buddy. That's when we decided that we were going to pretend to be a country.
Actually, that's a very good point, Pete. Those houses predate Canada.
Wow.
Neat. I'm going to start framing that anecdote like that. This is the boringest adjacency we've ever done.
It's not. It's not boring. Nottingham was built on caves. Do you remember when I gave you the cave tour? Or did I not give you the cave tour?
No. We only had like a wistful morning together. So I didn't get to do
you
the
ate
tour.
scones.
We did not eat scones or scones.
Took me to the American-themed breakfast place.
Scoons. Some lovely scoons. And some baps. Bops.
Hey, baps.
Lovely pastries.
Bap's another word in England for lady breasticles. Which you might not know.
Flapjacks.
Pete, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been really good. I've been starting to prep for maybe going to an event in November, as long as things hold good. So that'll be cool if that actually comes to fruition. I'm a little excited to actually play Warhammer for the first time in what feels like a million years. And but who knows? Maybe that'll crash and burn before then. But pretty cute little team event that I've been invited to, so I'm going to try to make it. And other than that, just living the isolated dream in the middle of nowhere.
Whose team are you on? Talk to me.
Darren Jack, who's a player here in Canada, invited me onto like a kind of streamer team, I guess you could call it. It's him, Alex McDougall, myself, JT McDowell from Play on Tabletop, and Riley Carter right now.
All those guys get in Edmonton.
Darren lives close by. He lives in Calgary, about 2 hours away. And the rest just live in BC, so they're probably going to drive over here together. And then they asked me to team captain because I know the game. I don't play it very well, but I know it better than most people. So I'm going to be that kind of team captain glue that tries to do all the pairings and all that other good stuff if we can, if COVID will let us.
Yes.
Well, that would be mighty fine. So it's a 4-person team tournament?
5. So I will also be playing, but
I can't count.
I am the captain, and if anybody can't make it, they're going to convince Matt Bodnerchuk to be the 5th. So it'll be interesting.
I assume you're going to wear the captain's hat the entire time.
Naturally.
Yes, naturally. We've got an Airbnb. It's got a hot tub that I'll be sleeping in, with a boat. It'll be good.
I was going to say with just in a not running hot tub. Just wake up that way every day.
Just me and a model boat.
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. Okay. Good.
Feels a bit strange to be looking forward to an event for you. I don't know how I feel about this.
Neither do I, to be honest. But I mean, it's we had things under pretty good control until very recently. So I'm hoping that curve goes back down. Otherwise, we just won't be able to do it. I know.
I wonder what could have possibly done that. What does that relate to?
Yeah, right.
What was it? Was it Labor Day?
Labor Day was probably a big part about our current big spike. Plus, schools have just started, and now school up here where I am, we're kind of unaffected right now. School only just started like 3 days ago, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But
also, isn't where you are school is just like tying knots and like learning how to set traps?
Funnily enough, you say that. That is 100% true outside of this town. Because most of the schools outside of this town are on the native reserves, and they're allowed to use to have their own curriculums, and it includes stuff like that.
Actually, that's fair.
I would prefer to have learned that rather than trigonometry. I just want to say this. I mean that with all seriousness. Yeah. So, can I just say thank you to Nikos and Diadrin for subscribing? Big love to both of you. I spent the weekend with Nikos, well, Saturday at least, at our event, which was fun. But we've also had to postpone that because of COVID, which is a bit sad. So, but we are thinking of setting up a grouse hunt sometime soon, as I mentioned before the show. So it should all be back on track sometime soon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, loving the grouse hunt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You can have up to 30 people in a grouse hunt. So that's fun. Very happy about that. Owen Jackson, thanks for subscribing.
I was unaware that there was some sort of limitation in grouse hunting.
Well, there's COVID limitations generally.
Is that what the joke is? That you can get around restrictions if it's a grouse hunt.
Yeah, so restrictions came in on Monday here. You two might be interested in this. Restrictions came in on Monday, I think, Pete, where only 6 people can meet in groups from different households. Or the same household, I don't know. Groups of 6 anyway. Unless you happen to be grouse hunting or shooting. Both pastimes famous to be done by the working class. Yeah, and people not of means is an argument there. Yeah, grouse hammer. So we're going to set up a grouse shoot in the T-Sports Arena, and then it'll all be fine. Unfortunately, we've only got one grouse, and you're not actually allowed to hit him. You gotta miss. Miss every time.
Well, we were saying pre-show, like you can. It'll just stand there, so you're good.
Pete
They're
is
not a
apparently
smart animal.
grouse, which is impressive to me. I've only shot clay pigeons myself.
No. My father used to take me when I was a wee lad in the forests of the Miramichi. We would go grouse hunting together.
That's a real place.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not making things up. That's a word that's real and associates to a place.
Oh, that's powerful. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. And grouses are pretty dumb, according to you, right?
They're a very, very not smart bird. They like to kind of just stand around, sometimes stand in trees, like large groups of them. And if you shoot at them and you miss, they will just stay there until you can reload and do it again. So it's like I can see why it would be a hunt for the gentry, as it were, as it's not very difficult at all. You can.
I just want to
do it.
ask: is it do you think? Just throwing this out there, do you think maybe the United Kingdom might consider not only electing politicians from one boarding school?
It's not how
Like,
it works.
maybe if you did like 2 different boarding schools.
Yeah. Maybe if they had like competing boarding schools,
Like, you know,
And
you
that
might
was-
get,
maybe that
Change
was how
that.
you guys did your vote. Was actually just voted for the boarding school rather than the party, and then
That
they
would
could
make
just
it easy.
pick.
Like Hogwarts championships,
Yeah.
at least 4.
Yeah, exactly. You could have a sorting hat. I think it would be good.
It would be good. It would be good. But let's not talk about this because I'm like a bee's dick away from radicalization. So I'm.
You hear those fall off when they sting you.
And, these dicks are in fact quite erratic, so that's a bad it's a bad precipice to be on.
Can I just say thank you to Ziggy for donating some gift subscriptions in the chat, and big shout out to intern Matt being in here. You did great at the weekend. Big love to you, and also to Penguin and Yodagasol for subscribing. Loads of subs today. This is great. Anyway, so
Toom Kim Tristan, I am not Acadian. My wife is though. I am.
Canadian
Just- I'm
driftwood.
just some weird Lebanese.
Tailwind.
what just happened? I don't understand anything of the two things that just happened. Care to
Call my home, the land of snow. No
Oh.
band fan.
Colonel Cabbage letting us know that they do attend 2 boarding schools, so we're good.
I don't know.
Eat and what's the other one?
Harrow.
Harrow?
Scone.
Oh.
Spoon.
Schoon.
Don't
Yeah.
the Scottish have like a scone thing that was a rock that the English stole from them? Isn't that something?
They have the King's Stone, where the next king will be stood upon in order to become the king. I think we stole it, but as English people are wont to do, it's quite funny actually that like you know the idea of having an Englishman in your home is somehow seen as some sort of like I don't know, noble thing, or I'm not really sure, like a delight. But really, most likely to steal anything is an English fella. Like, almost to a man, we'll nick a thing.
I just want to like go to the quiet living room where 2 spouses are hanging out reading the newspaper by the fire, and someone looks to the other one and says, "You know, we should get an Englishman."
Just hanging out. I want to be the guy that was like, we need a kingstone. We just need a rock someone can stand on. That's the only way to figure out a monarchy.
What's it called?
We nicked the Rosetta Stone, which is in the Museum of Swag, as I call it, which is my favorite museum, the British Museum.
My favorite is the Elgin Marbles, aka the Parthenon.
Anyway.
That's funny. Anywho,
that is why I've always thought all of the 40k narrative has been stolen quite seriously from all other franchises.
it is. It's the Stone of Scone. It's the Stone of Scone.
Yeah.
Well, look at that.
What?
I
Learn
knew
something new every day.
Taken by Edward I. Is that the long? No, that's not the Longshanks.
Is that where they make them?
They made what?
Stones or scones?
Yeah, scones. Yes.
Okay.
The Stone of Scone.
I'm going to move this on. The
Probably
weekend,
good, but still good.
the weekend,
Uh-huh.
we saw
Great rap singer.
Decent rapper. Yeah.
quite excitingly more Marines.
Yes.
And how do you guys feel
Hey,
about that?
Val, take it away with how you feel about it. You're
Here's
wrong.
my hot take. Hold on, I gotta have something here that probably lines up with a positive sound effect.
You
did it.
You just did yourself.
You did it.
They're like all negative. I don't know why I thought that would work. At any rate, I think vis-a-vis codexes, I'll set model releases to the side for now. I'll put a pin in it. I was just reflecting on the last time they released everything. And it actually got me thinking, why did they release it in that order? Like, have you guys ever contemplated the fact that they essentially randomly released all the codexes, or just seemed to randomly release all the codexes every time?
Mm-hmm.
And like Space Wolves was one of the last codexes, which makes absolutely no sense. It's got to be one of the most popular factions. Blood Angels took a little while. So my thing was, because half the range and probably the majority of players have Marines, it kind of makes sense that they would just crank those out as fast as possible.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
What put out the Marine models? Are you talking about the codexes?
Codexes. Talking codexes here.
Oh, okay.
Models, of course. They're redoing the whole friggin' line. Of course, there's a lot of stupid models. I'm a little upset about Troop Gravis. But
Yeah, it's a little dumb.
It's a bit dumb.
It's a bit much.
I think you almost like have to have the Marine Codex out initially, which is super cool with me.
Yep.
But then
It's
I feel
not
like
the Marine Codex. It's like 12. Well, I mean, just fundamentally, it's always been 4 books. Like since the dawn of time, since 2nd edition, basically. No, since 3rd edition, it's been at least 4 books, right? Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Space Wolves, and then Codex Marines.
And they had Codex Black Templar for a while, and then they got rid of it.
It was like a pamphlet.
I'd like to continue on with this right now, but I would like to just do Nikos's pop quiz. Pete, Val, go. Name all the types of bolter.
There's Scone Bolter.
Scone Bolters.
Heavy
Scone
bolter.
Bolters.
Pheasant bolt. Grouse bolters.
Grouse
bolters.
bolters. Canadian bolters.
Duty bolters.
Usain
The
bolter.
Bolt Stone.
Usain bolters. Those are good ones.
I don't care that it's the Marine Codex out first. I just think that then they should just knock out all of the Xenos codexes, then come back to Imperium. Is my thoughts.
But my thoughts is like, if they're thinking of a way to get, and by the way, there's no way this is a strategy going out saying that. Pretty sure it's all still pretty fucking random. But in my head, I was like, why wouldn't they do the most popular books first? Wouldn't that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Plus Necrons.
Yeah, I don't really care that they're doing the Space Marine codexes. I was a little annoyed at first when they announced it. I was like, yeah, we just got one of these, and it kind of ruined the game for a year. So I was hoping we'd take a breath. And then I was like, well, maybe they're releasing this to fix things, but I don't think that's true either.
Nope.
So then I was like, well, I don't know. I think the most disappointing thing to me was on the reveal stream when they were like, and the codex has 98 entries, and I was like, that you should have been like, wow, we made a mistake. Let's cut some of this stuff out. Like, this is the time. This is where we don't give them 2 wounds. We get rid of them. We say, hey guys, you can play them in narrative. Or maybe split the book. Let's have a heresy. Let's redo it. All the new Marines versus the old Marines. Just get it out of our system so that we can cut some of the chaff out of these codexes. Combine some sheets, do something. Because my God, 98 entries. That's absurd. That is an absurd amount of
plus 4. That doesn't even include Forge of World, which is again half Marine stuff.
Yeah. Let's cut this book in half. That's it. Let's rip it in half. Find a new way.
Well, see, now, excitingly, instead, what they did was they took a troop choice, which was... You have a troop choice, which is a baby Marine with a bolter, and then you have, obviously, the Primaris Marine with a bolter, several types of bolter, in fact, and then you've got a couple of other troop choices that have pistols and swords, and now they've gone, not good enough, slightly bigger troop choice, with slightly bigger gun, kind of. Yeah, like, so they haven't even gone, we'll change up the roles. We're like, if you would like to choose man's down shooting bolter, you've got like 8 choices now, and it's great. That's what I think. I want more.
I do also enjoy that the heavy intercessor, the data sheet that was shown, has weapons on it that they cannot take based on the data sheet if it's accurate. So that'll be cool if that comes out like that.
Didn't catch that. What's the nuance in that one?
Well, so they say, hey, if you have X amount of heavy intercessors, then you can replace one of their guns with I can't remember what it is. It's like an executioner bolt gun. But that is not one of the ones in the list of guns that they can have on their data sheet. So it's like,
But they lost track of all the bolters.
Yeah, at some point they changed the name of the gun and then just didn't change it everywhere they were supposed to, at least in this preview image. So I'm hoping it went to print properly, but that's the thing. So
here's something I find kind of interesting. They're giving Primaris Marines old Marine stuff now. So the Eradicators or whatever, that's what they are, right?
Yeah, they're getting
the
a
melta dudes can get multi-meltas, and you can give a heavy bolter to a heavy intercessor. It's kind of strange.
Well, I think I don't know. It seems to me that there has been a swing. At some point, someone was like, "We're obviously going to phase out the Marines," and at some point, someone was like, "No, let's not." And now we're here. And now we're here. I do have this is not based on anything I've heard or know, but I do have a suspicion as to why, and that would be that the Marines, as we know them, are the narrative core and backbone of the actual game. So, like Primaris Marines, like Primaris Intercessors or whatever, they always have the P in front of them. Like, they are Space Marines, but they aren't like the Marines. So if they were going to do, let's say, a TV franchise or a film franchise, then the Marines would have to be relevant. But that's just a guess.
It's kind of interesting. Also, really highlights how dumb it was that they didn't just call these Marines, but whatever. That's bygones. Let's let those bygones be bygones.
Let's just leave them.
Also, what you just said sounds a lot like strategery to me, and I would say that whoever pulled the Space Marine car keys out of the bowl of who gets to write the codex,
and then had sex with them, because that's how you do that, right?
Val, you've really changed over like the past Pete, have you noticed this over the past 6 months to a year? It was like they've all got a plan, there's a strategy, like,
I have never said that. Why do you always describe that to me?
Pete,
I have never said that.
Pick a side.
I have traded.
I have
literally traded on the knowledge that they don't know what they're doing. Okay,
yes, it's true. I will agree with Val that he has never said they knew what they were doing, but he's always been very optimistic about why they were doing it.
Okay.
And then something changed where he lost the optimism. The twinkle left his eye. What was that thing Shawn Michaels said? He lost his smile. His smile. Going back to the 90s.
I think it was the
I gave it to JVP.
Gave it to JVP. You did. Now he looks like a Super Saiyan.
Oh yeah.
So something I'm excited about, which is the opposite of how I actually feel, is that there is a Forge World book, and it still doesn't contain any of the Mechanicum models for some insane
The new Forge
reason.
book does not include any of the Mechanicum models?
It still does not. It still does not.
What? What is that?
I mean, they'll probably have the Secutari and the Termite Drill. You'll get those. That'll be it, though.
Yeah,
What is that?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. They've just had a Mechanicum wave. So if you're a Mechanicum player, you've bought all your brand new stuff over the past like 3 or 4 months, and you're like, okay, I don't really need to buy any more for this army. Then a book comes out, and you could just have access to all this other stuff. But they're like, nope. To be fair, they're making enough money. So, like, if you say to them, do you guys want to make more money? They're like, do you know what, lad? We're making plenty. We're fine.
That is also an excellent Games Workshop response. They're trading at 43 times forward earnings, and like your average European stock trades at like 13. So,
aren't they doing better than Tesla?
well, they have a higher percentage increase in the last 5 years. Okay, great. But still, they're not Tesla. They're a game making company. It's like they're like their price is valued like Tesla, like a tech company. It's bizarre. I don't understand what's happening.
Me either. Yes, Pete.
Strange. I suspect that the market just doesn't actually know what Games Workshop is. Maybe they think they're like, I don't know.
They're a weapons manufacturer. They keep seeing all these bolters. They're like,
maybe they make oil. I don't know.
They make
Maybe
oil guns.
Maybe they've been looking at their hiring and they're like, oh, they work there now. They must be a weapons sort of company or something.
Whoa. That's
Anyway,
a dig.
That's not a dig.
That's a dig.
That was a reference. That's a callback at least.
I had to really search through my brain to try and maybe figure out what you were referencing, and I only sort of know, but I don't want to say it.
I thought that was a reference, and I was happy with that. Anyway, well, so my question is, are you happy, Pete? Are you happy, Val, about the fact that relics will cost points? Because I'm actually happy about that.
What the fuck? When did that happen?
Says it in the review show Codex on the website sort of thing. Really? Yeah.
See, I didn't have the honest Wargamer to grumpily side mouth the whole friggin' reveal. So I don't know what I'm upset about right now. That's my problem. That's why I sound so optimistic, because I wasn't told what I should be upset about.
I actually really like the change.
I thought that was just for Crusade, as Born Again Manchild is saying, but maybe it's not. If it's not, I love it. If it is, I hate it.
Oh, I hope it's for... No, what, you don't like it for match play? I love it for match play.
No, I want it for match play, but if it's only for Crusade, then that's real dumb, because you're making like the game that they're trying to pitch for like the less competitive mindset people more complicated than...
No, it's the requisition points, I'm sure. So it's like, you get like you upgrade your army.
You get X amount of... Yeah.
So you're probably referring to that.
I was really happy about that.
Yeah.
I do think relics should cost points. It'd make it so much easier to balance them instead of having, codexes that have 20 some odd relics, and then you only ever take 2 of them because they're just fantastic since they're free.
I disagree. I think the way that they originally balanced relics was the correct way. You could take 1. And then they were like, well, okay, everyone can have as many as they like. And it's like, no.
That's also dumb. That has not helped. But they like internal balance on relics when you can just take them for free isn't good, because there's just going to be some that are like head and shoulders above the others.
Yeah,
due to the freeness.
And also, if you make them cost points, you can have like, let's say your basic relic costs 50 points. Let's say,
right?
Yeah, maybe that's a bit much, but let's just say it means you can be like, here's a 150 point relic. That's bonkers, but like it's 150 points. You have the design
space. It's just going to open up the opportunity for them to have like 150 point Tau relic that gives -1 to leadership for everyone within 6 inches, and a 25 point Marine relic that gives +1 weapon skill, ballistic skill, and reroll hits and wounds. Like, it's for 25 points. Like that's why like not having points on that one I think is good, and then restricting how many you can have is the way to go, unless they do something like the Ironstone.
Well, because we had this thing happen in Age of Sigmar recently where we had a supplemental book, and from there was something like 98 relics, as you would call them, which were and they were split into groups of 13. Or I know the math doesn't work on that. It's something like that anyway. But there were basically 12 groups of 12, and there was 8 of them, and you could say, or 7 or whatever. And you could say, I'm from this place, and then you could choose relics from that specific place, as well as your core book. And then they've just done away with that, because there were obviously best fits. And everything that was in that was better than that was in your core book, most of the time. Problematically, though, it was the same situation where they all were free. So if you just make them cost, then, I get it. The argument that they can't point anything is legitimate, but that is the whole game. So
it's not that they can't point anything. It's just that you open up the opportunities for mistake. Whereas if you just restrict the supply, which I think was the original idea, then it's not as destabilizing. The same thing like why Rule of 3 is good. Like it just limits the ability for something that's not correctly accounted for being OP. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
I think it's a good way. It's a good way to like limit damage and like improve balance, because like even if you have one OP relic, it's not gonna fuck everything. But now you can have all the relics. I guess limited by CP only, which is more restricted now. Granted, so that's good. But anyway, no, I think I like the way the relic system's done.
Okay. Well, so what did you guys make of the new models? I, for one, big fan of the speeder.
Gonna buy 3 of those.
Yeah, I like
the speeder. Does look cool.
You can buy 9 because they've all got different names. There's 3 variants. So...
Oh wow, that's true. Gonna buy 3 of those and use magnets, as I do with all things. Actually, the thing I'm worried about is that they didn't nail the scale, because they crammed 3 beefcakes in that thing, which suggests to me it's as big as one of those friggin' new Predators. It looks about as big as an Impulsor to me.
Yeah, I think
I would bet it's about the size of an Impulsor.
Which
shouldn't
sucks.
that be the size?
No.
Oh, why?
It's supposed to be a little fucking, it's not supposed to be a huge friggin' tank thing.
Yeah, but it's got to have 3. But it's got to have 3 beefcakes in.
Yeah, 3 beefcakes and guns. All the guns.
Also, why?
What's the question? Oh, you seem mad.
Why do they have so many beefcakes in all their things now? Like, why did they have so many?
It's very hard to be a Primaris Marine.
Yeah, you need emotional support.
Do they grow on trees? No. They grow in vats. We all know that they grow in vats.
But they need the emotional support of their battle brothers, because they do feel like
warrior lodges.
Yeah,
they're ostracized.
They've got imposter syndrome, right? That's what they're struggling with. They're like, we're not sure we're good enough for this. Obviously, we're the new boys on the block. Even though I think it's been like a couple of 100 years now, they just don't feel. They just don't feel like they feel like they're not the guys at the minute. Yeah. I can understand that. That's a hard feeling.
It is. I don't want. I know I'm sounding crusty, which is funny because I've actually been. This is gonna be like the first cradle to the grave 40K army I've ever really put together. Is my Marines, because I usually like panic at some point and commission it out somewhere. And so far, I've built a bunch of stuff, and I'm having a lot of fun with the Marines. And I'm really looking forward to the really, really basic paint job and using various basic painting techniques and stuff. So I get it. I get the Marine thing. And I sound really crusty about it, but I'm not. I'm really looking forward to this. And I really hope that incursors are better in the new book, because I built 20 for some reason.
Incursors, you actually got you went out of your way instead of just getting infiltrators that were cheaper.
There's the combo box. So I got the combo box, and then a friend of mine was just literally like, "Oh, do you want this bag of Reavers?" It's like, yeah, sure, I'll take those. And then I used the leftover bits from another friend's Incursor Infiltrator box, because obviously no one builds Incursors. And I just hacked off all the Reaver bits and put on the Incursor bits. Boom. Got myself 20 Incursors.
You're living a dream that, you're definitely a rich man. You're definitely a grouse hunter, that's for sure.
No grouse is here. This is all. Hold on. Where are you? Show me. Give me a. Eric. Oh fuck! This is just a bet.
I
just want to say again, for the listeners at home, Val is in his closet right now, and his closet has a full sectional couch inside it. That's the kind of grouse hunter you're looking at right now.
It's like Drake's house. All right, so there you go. See, there's a mutant. Is it out of focus? I can't even tell.
It works. It's
mostly out of focus, but it's
so
okay.
You can see he's got a gray plastic can, because I chopped that off, put on there. I had to cut off some of the pouches on his leg. That's the big difference on the Reaver, is they have more pouches on their legs.
They have to hold all of their spite somewhere.
They're a big fan of cargo shorts in the summer.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember just sitting there and realizing that Reavers were Phobos, and that Phobos are also Incursors, and I did that. Been talking a long time here. The moral of the story.
Yep.
Also built 3 Impulsors and a Repulsor. 2 Invictor War suits.
Wow.
9 of the Melta guys. Big question here, guy. We're getting deep on the 40K. Big question. Melta guys. should I go into my Devastator bits and yank out 2 multi-meltas and just assign 2 multi-meltas to them?
Why not?
I'll have to cut them off, put them on there.
Yeah, live your dream.
Yeah,
Hobby away.
Do you think there's a chance? That both the Eradicators and the Blade Guard veterans have an alternate variant that they have yet to reveal?
Yes. Particularly the Blade Guard. I would say they have a variant.
So like they have perhaps a nunchuck guard variant.
I don't know if it's nunchucks, but it's probably something.
I want it to be nunchucks. I didn't know that's what I wanted. Or most importantly, have you guys ever tried
Power
to use?
nunchucks.
Have you guys ever tried to use a 3-section staff?
Nope.
Okay,
No, I'm not Donatello.
No, that's a
nunchucks on the end of a stick.
Yeah, so imagine nunchucks, but add a third chuck. So there's 3. But the sticks are longer. Just shout out if anyone would like to see some excellent use of a 3-sectional staff. You can watch Ong Bak 3, starring Tony Jaa, which is
Tony Jaa, good guy.
Yeah, great guy.
Are
Excellent.
nunchucks like the OP innovation of Thai stick fighting?
I don't know about
Like,
Thai stick fighting. They generally tend to use swords, interestingly, because do you know where Thai kickboxing generally kind of existed or was created from?
Surviving in Bangkok.
It's fighting at the ankles and feet of elephants, where the Maharajas or whatever they would be called were sat on top. So they're the elephant guard. It's why they have a lot of like strong stances and they fight in a circular motion because they're moving around the legs of elephants.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty cool.
They're just Jean-Claude Van Damme people in the face with their roundhouse kicks to keep them away from their elephant bros.
Yeah. And a lot of Thai kickboxing actually also has a sword variant. Again, not most people know that. So there's a sword art involved with it as well, which is interesting. So
just
nunchucks.
For someone to kick my ass. Continuing, yes.
Well, just nunchucks would be a cool addition, I feel. 3-section staff.
Yep.
I'd also like to see
Power
nunchucks.
Power nunchucks. I'm into it.
That's a free idea in the idea jar, GW. You can keep it.
GW. What is
The
wrong
intern.
with you?
Get the
People love
intern on.
nunchucks.
There's someone in a back room at Games Workshop who's like, see, sweet vindication.
Yeah. Oh no. 20 years ago, he was like, "We got to get on this nunchuck game," and no one believed him. No one believed him.
So the Blade Guard. So they wouldn't be called the Blade Guard veterans, would they? They'd be called the Nunchuck Guard veterans.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll be. What else would they be called?
The Nun Guard.
The Nun Guard.
Oh, this is a battle. Yeah, the
so
Chuck
you feel
Guard.
like, hey, have I showed you guys my my converted Blade Guard veterans?
No.
They look like breachers or whatever Horus you guys are.
Oh, awesome! Did you get
Is
a
that
breacher shield?
out of focus?
Or is that
Yeah, it is, but that's fine. Looks cool.
There you go. There you go.
Is that 3D
3D printed breacher shield.
Sure is from Shapeways.
Nice.
Nice.
And they have I used the assault bodies on it. I gave them this weird knife thing. It's a power knife.
It looks like a kukri.
A kukri, whatever. Because my guys are raptors, so I wanted them to be less ostentatious. Which, by the way, I mentioned this in the Raptors. Every faction has a forum filled with the nightmares
Terrible
from the
people.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the word I was looking for. Yes. What else was I thinking? Oh yeah. So I suggested, I was like, I feel like Blade Guard, don't really fit the aesthetic of like a really, the stripped down Raptors, lean, mean, assassin, strike from the shadows type machine. And everyone and I just got jumped out. There's like this brigade of Raptors fans who think the Raptors are kind of like special ops Marines and like fight from range and use land speeders, be sneaky, but like you're basically American Marines. And I think, or like, Delta Force American Marines anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a group of like, I'm pretty sure clearly English people who like reject this concept that the Raptors are like that, and they always are like going on about how there are Astartes and they can have all the filigrees that they want, and so like they will get so mad when someone suggests something like maybe they shouldn't have an entire human skeleton on their shield. you know, because it wouldn't really fit their aesthetic. And they get mad because they're Marines and their start is just like all the other Marines. So I was like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
everyone wears skeletons on their shields. It's just something you do.
What is?
Shit got real in the Indomitus Crusade, you know?
Yeah,
I'm
what is
actually
the-
using Crimson Paladins for my Blade Guard Ancients, or Blade Guard, I should say in general, not just the Ancient, but because they are badass models.
What are those?
They're the Blood Angel like elite Cataphracti troops from Forge World.
Okay. Yeah.
And they're the exact same size. They all have swords and shields except for like the sergeant who has like a halberd almost. So I'm converting him into a Justiciar, and it's gonna be cool.
Did you say Crimson Guard?
Crimson Paladins.
Paladins. What were you trying to say there, Robbo?
Nothing at all. I just get generally sick of listening to Marine conversations, to be honest. It's almost like I don't mean that in a horrible way, and I'm quite excited to see conversions.
Horrible, but
No, I'm actually really interested in your conversions. I think that's fun. I just am like a lot of other players. I think a bit. I'm a bit contrary as a person anyway, so I would like to always play something a little bit out there, a little bit fun.
But you're a Horus Heresy guy.
I am a heresy guy, but the Primaris stuff isn't heresy related. Like, it's not.
Oh, man. That was also awesome. The Primaris Marine Heresy conversion gate that I also came across briefly and then ran away screaming from it.
Tell me about that.
It was just, there was apparently a photo of some Horus Heresy stuff in a White Dwarf. And there was a guy who'd converted some Hellblasters Hellblasters by just paint. All he did was paint them in the heresy colors. It's not Horus Heresy. And so they were very upset. I think it also set off a chain reaction of is Horus Heresy getting Primaris. It was a lot of gnashing of teeth, a lot of upsetness. It was, well, I spent a lot of time reading that thread, and I can't remember any of it other than that.
Yeah,
and
they were mad.
Basically the whole story.
They were mad. I think the conversation was: is the Horus Heresy a historical reenactment game versus more of a exciting, like anything? As much as you guys were just talking a minute ago, like the Raptors could be this. It's like, well, there could be Raptors somewhere in the world, like in the Imperium or somewhere that just perform exactly like Val says, and then there's some Raptors somewhere else that do exactly what you said. But then in the Heresy, although they do explain the scope quite massively, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, this did happen. This is this.
Yes.
So it's a bit,
specific, and that's awesome. And actually, that maybe that's why Mechanicum has never been released, although probably not. Anyway, what I was going to say is actually something in the Raptor. Oh, there's a guy who was showing off his fancy Raptors painting in that Raptors group. It's the last sub-faction group I'm a part of, because they're actually, generally speaking, cool there. And he showed these models, and they had like the most beautiful matte finish on them. They were just like perfect. Like I've never seen, it just looked so perfect. And what it was is that he comes from a scale modeler background, and he uses like enamel paints and actually they're not enamels. They're something something acrylic paints, basically the ones with the stinky medium in them.
The grim dark paint, as it were.
Anyway, but so that got me on this like YouTube rabbit hole of the style of scale modeler painting, which is all about like, it made me realize that like Games Workshop paints like a comic book.
Yep.
It's not realistic at all. And then that scale modelers really like they basically all the base coats are flat, and essentially highlights are weathering. So it's like it's all about how like that's how you bring like layers to the model, is through like how you chip the paint and how you add streaks of grit and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was fantastic and awesome. So I'm gonna try some things. If I ever actually get around to it. But it also got me to
keep your windows open.
Who's no, I have to go outside anyway. There's a guy who was a scale modeler and then got super into Horus Heresy, and he has like a half-hour, 45-minute like series on the difference in the Forge World style of painting from the studio style of painting, which was really fascinating. And a lot of it is grounded in what you just said, Rob, which is that Horus Heresy is grounded in reality. So they picked, instead of the cartoonish style of painting, they picked a more scale model style of painting. So it's all about weathering and that kind of stuff.
I've actually
It's a
big shout out.
whole long story.
No, if you guys want to go check out the Cult of Paint, Henry Steele and some guys in England have worked really hard on, like when Heresy was kicking off, they were some of the guys that were like running paint classes, and they were really helping like people who'd maybe been into the Games Workshop style for a long time transition into that more realistic style. It's actually my preference. The Heresy was because it looked like the thing. Like
it looks so grimdark.
Yeah, that realism actually was a big part of why I really like the aesthetic. But everyone on the show's already heard me talk about that many a time. Did you guys?
God. Don't get us started.
I know, right? Just all the time. But have you guys heard about the reanimation calls for Necrons? Because that sounds cool.
I have seen the little White Dwarf preview where they just indicated that it's now a roll that happens after the model is removed instead of at the end of the round. I haven't seen the full details further, but it sounds way more powerful and way more exciting that way, because
like
you're going to have seconds that are way more durable. But
yeah, it's like a second saving throw or like a second invuln.
It's almost like it's like a secondary feel no pain after the model. After you've removed the model, you then roll again to see if he reanimates.
Oh, is that how you read it? I thought I read it where it was something along the line. How I read it was, and this could be wrong, so don't quote me. Is that it was? Let's say I had 20 Necron warriors and I shoot 14, and then that unit that shot them has finished shooting and has killed them 14. Then I would roll 14 5-ups and put however many I roll back on.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about. It feels like a basically a feel no pain you would do after the fact. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, but on a multi-wound model, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Pretty sick.
Yes, it's
also, I'd be curious to see what the specific wording is, because attacks, in theory, happen one at a time.
Yeah.
So they'd be getting knocked down and back up, knocked down, back up. Like you could just wind up shooting the same guy 100 times.
Yeah, I think it's going to work where every unit attacking them after they finish their attacks, you get to roll to put units back in. So you could whittle the unit down, but it's just more fun. Well, I don't know. I quite like it. Like this unit shoots, and then like 7 stand back up, and this unit you'll get less and less over time. I just think that's a really fun way of doing it, personally.
Yeah, Chumbawamba Necrons. That's a good way to put it. I love it.
Nice.
Tub thumping.
Oh my god!
Just tub thumping.
I get shot down, and I get up again. Oh, amazing! That's
spelling out the joke. That's great.
Oh, sorry.
Don't be sorry. I didn't mean to. Oh.
Well, so that seems fun. At least that bit.
Yeah.
The Necron release. I'm very excited to see that. Very excited.
That's a big power boost, depending on how it's written. I really liked all the little tentacle dudes for Necrons that they're showing. Really beautiful sculpts. Really beautiful sculpts.
I got something. Call me crazy, but is anyone noticing that there is some feels like crossover now between the Necron and AdMech lines? Like there seems to be a hint of Necron in the AdMech. Am I crazy?
Are you talking about
like all the tentacles and mechadendrites and stuff? Yeah.
Are you talking about the rules?
I think that's just a hentai thing for the developers.
Octopus shit? The Dr. Octopus shit?
I'm quite sure it's just a hentai thing.
I thought you guys would just agree with me on this. Okay.
No, I do agree with you. Have you not seen the rules that the Necrons basically get canticles? That's a rule that's basically there as well. They're going to get
they get that cool dynastic rules or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah. So you get some cool tentacles, which I think that's actually quite fun. I like that little nod to the narrative.
The protocols, yeah.
What I particularly enjoy about the rumored reanimation protocols rule is that the two really diehard Necron players that I regularly chat with have been refusing optimism. They have rejected optimism at every turn. There's no way that they're getting optimistic. Fuck you. They're going to be disappointed. They're not doing it. No. And then that reanimation protocol hint happened, and now you can see the light shining in on them, which is awesome because they're going to be so disappointed.
It reminds me of like Tyranids.
They almost made it. They're not going to make it. They're going to be so upset.
Because remember Tyranids in 8th edition, the codex came out, and as it was getting pushed, like all the rules were getting pushed out, Tyranid players were like, "No, there's no way this is good. We've been bad for so long," and like they were just like you couldn't make them optimistic about what they were getting. And then the Codex came out, and for the time was amazing. So they were all like, "Oh man, we're actually super competitive." And then like 2 months later, I think it was they released Dark Eldar and Imperial Knights, and then it just like every Tyranid player was like, "Oh, we're not good anymore." Again,
It would have been
This is what
Eldar
they
and
did.
Custodes like hot on its heels.
Yeah, they were competitive until well, they did and they did end up having one competitive build for basically forever, but that was it.
Skyrim.
But like they thought the whole codex was fantastic, and it was compared to what ended up happening when Dark Eldar and Imperial Knights came out. So
Yeah, that was a solid 6 months later. It's funny how time is so compressed.
it is.
But yeah, it's that was May and June were Knights and Dark Eldar of 2018. And like Tyranid would have been 17. Like they were a pretty early book. They were with Eldar.
How do you guys feel about the other codexes that they said that they were bringing out? I know you kind of touched on that earlier, Val, but like, you got any like, are there any of those that you'd like think need a book very, very quickly, very soon?
The thing I'd be most excited about is oh, sorry, that's my 8 o'clock alarm there. Okay. The thing I was just looking at, like, again, it sucks that the range is so incredibly Space Marine heavy, but I don't know, man. Like think about like Blood Angels getting like Sanguinary Guard get the Primaris treatment. Like that would look so dope. Like there's so many cool things that they can go back and redo. That I would be genuinely excited about. Like Outriders as whatever the motorcycle the Dark Angel Ravenwing. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's lots of cool fun stuff they can do. I think a cool Blood Angels book will be awesome. Imagine a new Sanguinor. Come on, he's the worst.
I mean, I know they're not going to get anything new model wise. I won't get my hope up that way. I do think the Blood Angel book being early is fine. Same with Space Wolves because they're getting rolled into the main codex. So getting these guys a supplement is probably pretty key in the early days of everything. Death Guard getting a book. They were one of the first books in 8, so they kind of need that revamp as well. Plus, with things going to 2 wounds, you want those Plague Marines out right away so people can stop freaking out about what they're going to look like. Because if they keep disgusting resilient, which the scuttlebutt is they're not, then they're absolutely probably broken. But otherwise, they're going to just be keen. Yeah, I wasn't super shocked by the announcement of those final 4 codexes. I do wish they'd thrown in at least one other Xenos book just to keep the people happy. But
also, RIP. It's going to be so slow. The codexes are going to come out so slow. No, man, balls to the wall. Pedal down. This is going to be super fast. I think they're going to go just as fast as they did before.
I would say that even if they do 2 codexes a month or 2 supplements a month, you're still looking at over a year before all codexes are released.
Yeah, that's what they did last time. They were 18 months last time.
But then they reset the edition straight after.
No, they were halfway through. It took them forever to get to Gene Stealer Cult, but I think it was like Orcs, and then Gene Stealer Cult. That was like it took a long time, and then they were done.
Oh, okay.
But the codexes were like. The game was,
and then they re-released Marines, and they had to redo everything.
Yes, that's actually what really ruined it. Was Marines. There would have been a cool last year of the edition and COVID-19. There would have been a cool one last year of the edition. Again, please consider a 4-year cycle. GW would be way better than 3, but whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not overly fussed about what they do release, but I felt the same way. Obviously, I've been super busy, so I haven't really put tons of thought into it. But I'm not particularly stressed until those books come out. So one of the cool things that they also talked about is that when they do release the new rules for flamers in the Marine Codex, that any Xenos or other variants anywhere else in the world will also be getting an FAQ and errata to change those up. And that is an excellent change because that's really good.
We argued about that when they first announced all this because they said they were going to do that. What they're not doing is adding the wound, which is weird. Yeah, and also, like, are they changing the pointing on those weapons? Because, like, now that
I think Chapter Approved or the 9th edition version of Chapter Approved,
I guess heavy bolts
that
are more expensive. Yeah, heavy bolts are more expensive, aren't they? Yeah,
that was my thought. I am curious to see what exactly that entails. If it is all weapons of just the same name, if other things are going to get the boost that maybe are named slightly different but are exactly the same thing. I don't think that'll be the case. I think it will just be, hey, Tau happened to have a flavor that's not called a boogabum, so it will get the modification, but someone else that has like a Burna or something may not.
Mhm.
That's my assumption, at least going into this, is what they're going to do. I did enjoy the Warhammer community article where they were showing off like what benefits, and some of the benefits, quote unquote, they were using for other armies that weren't Marines were way out there for a couple of the units. Like it was like for heavy bolters, they had like the Lehman Russ Vanquisher or something, which has like a single heavy bolter on it, and you're like, oh, well, you're really digging deep, digging deep to show where the benefit comes there. You could have used any other model, and it would have been a better choice.
I don't know if you saw the bit in the article where there was, because they did 3 examples for each one, and one of them, the third example was just any hunter killer missile. It was like any other unit that could take them. Like he was like 4:30 on a Friday. It's like, oh
yeah, for sure,
any unit, man.
Yeah, they were like, what things even take hunter killer missiles anymore? We've got 98 different codex entries we have to go through to see.
That did bring me back to when you could hammer as many hunter killers on something as you wanted, and like people would build like a rack of hunter killers on their rhinos and stuff. That was nice.
Yeah. I did think it was cute when that came out, and then I think it was Comp 40K. Somebody was like, now everyone's looking for their hunter killer bits, and I was like, dude, it's not that big of an upgrade. It's like +2 strength. Like, relax, everybody, calm down.
Yeah.
Everybody calm down.
But what it is, and they've shown that, and I actually think that it's bold of them, so I will throw credit there, and I am happy about it, is they've looked at the weapon profiles and are changing the weapon profiles to be more in line with what the game is now. Because if like a lot of the 8th edition weapon profiles felt like they were hangovers from, previous editions of the game, and they've now
they added damage to them, and rend.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yep.
Yeah, and now they're like, okay, we're gonna actually look at how these function in the game overall. And credit where credit's due, I think that's a really good choice because we hopefully will end up with what seems to make more sense. Then they released another Marine with another bolter, and I was like, oh, never mind, this will be fine.
I don't understand why heavy intercessors got the troop choice assignment, and meanwhile scouts have been bumped to elites. They've
the scout bump to elite was weird to me, like super weird.
Also, how are incursors and infiltrators troops and reavers are elites? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I just wish I don't understand what they're doing there.
No, I don't think we ever know what they're up to. Really, is that the...
Like, they could have really just slotted those guys into their obvious categories, of elites and heavy support.
What, the troop choices? No, the scouts.
Yeah. Just intercessors, maybe assault intercessors. That's probably what should be troop choices. And then everything else should slot somewhere else.
I agree with you there. Absolutely. I mean, they're a bit devil you do, devil you don't, right? Really, aren't they? With the Marine book? They're just like, cool.
It's true.
Like,
yeah. I just like scouts going to elite outside of Space Wolves because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but they did it. They're just like, yeah, these are the newest guys. They're super elite. They don't even have all their upgrades yet. They've never put on a black carapace, but man, they are the most elite tiny dudes we have.
Yeah. They're the Graz of Space Marines. Totally should be troops. But maybe it was probably because it was written in a time where everyone was just bringing three units of 5 scouts to get your troop selection. Maybe that's what it is. They didn't want
it's one of two things. It's that, like, they actually took in consideration balance, or it was a typo and that they're actually still troops.
That intern's having the toughest time. He's just having the toughest time. He's getting thrown under the bus. I feel a lot. And bless him.
Just because Val's mistake is trying to see sense in it all. Isn't making sense of chaos a key component of the human condition, Nikos? Isn't that what we're here for? Describing meaning to the meaningless?
I mean, like, several Primarchs fell because of that, so I feel you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know, I hear you completely. All right, so to wrap up, because I want you two to be able to get some sleep, or at least Pete, you.
his birthday. He's up, man. He's just gonna get naked and run around the house for the rest of the day.
Well, that's what I
No,
was
my
gonna
daughter
ask.
is going to wake up in 20 minutes, and then she and I are going to hang out until our babysitter wakes up at 10 o'clock. Well, not wakes up, does her business. And then I will sleep from 10 o'clock until Bronx doesn't let me.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Bronx.
Have you got a birthday meal planned?
Nope. I don't do things for my birthday because I'm old now. And I'm lonely. So I just sit in my house, and my sons will give me a piece of cake at some point, I think. And that
That's
will be
nice.
it. And I will just think about how much closer I am to being dead.
Well, I mean, fingers crossed, right? What we can hang out and maybe record an episode of Stat Center tonight.
Yeah, I think we will try to do that. That sounds like a super cool plan. There've been a number of events. Hopefully, we can do 2 stat centers in a row. That would be.
Have there
Maybe
been
I'm
some
stretching.
events? Have
Yeah,
they
there've been
gone?
a
Have they
number.
gone well?
So far, I haven't heard any scuttlebutt saying they didn't.
Nice.
There was a Norwegian event that took place over the weekend. There was an Irish event that I think took place over 2 weekends. They did a kind of like a heat system.
Exploded Dice. Pete's. Yeah, great.
Pete Pat's in the chat. Yeah.
Also,
so
hands up. Why isn't that a thing? Why wouldn't people do that? Why don't we do that more?
I don't know.
It would make a lot of fucking sense. Like you could have GTs out of a tiny store if you just ran it in heats.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there've been a couple events, and yeah, I mean Harlequin's doing super good, Marine's still doing super good. It's a world where things are actually happening, at least for now.
Oh, that's great. That's good. And I'm really happy for Harlequins. I think that's nuts that they're doing well. Like, I'm really, really happy for them, personally.
I had them just outside of my top 5 as a possible. They might be in top 5 if I'm wrong about anything. So I fully expected they would be amazing, and they're proving it out pretty hard right now. At least in these early days.
Also, do you tend to find that Harlequin players are generally like lifelong Harlequin players? Like, you don't really tend to jump on the Harlequin bandwagon. Oh, really?
I think I think the early set, the first month or so before people realized how good they actually are, it was that way. But in the last couple of weeks, if you look at that invasion event, and maybe Norway is just a super Harlequin centric country as it is, but they had a ton of Harlequin players. When I look at a lot of the RTTs, I kind of half pay attention to here. It's the same idea. You're just all of a sudden seeing Harlequins show up everywhere. It's kind of just like Custodes, where you can pick them up actually pretty quick if you want, and because it is still a decently low model count army, so it's becoming a bandwagon thing when it wasn't for a long time. So
yeah, when an army's bad, that's when you get to meet all the diehards. Yeah, that's when you see people who really care about something. But once it's good, no man, people are just buying them at garage sales.
Pretty much.
You can get them.
They're just buying them at the store because no one bought them for 5 years. So,
yeah. People give me those. Give me those. Do you ever? Last question, quickly. Mm-hmm. Do you ever wonder about getting into buy low, sell high warhammering?
I did that.
Did you?
Oh yeah. When I first started, I 100% just flip models. But it was coming out. It was coming out of 7th edition. So there were people who were just dumping and selling their massive collections because the game was not as popular and you could just buy crazy amounts of stuff. And so I didn't really do the buy low sell high thing, but I did what a concept known as arbitrage. So I would buy up Canadian minis and garage sale stuff, and then I would sell it to Americans. So I'd take, and the US dollar is higher than Canadian dollar, so I would make way more money selling it to the States. Mm-hmm. And that's how I built up a stupidly big collection really, really fast with just flipping models.
I have long thought that if you had the patience, you could easily flip models. You just have to wait for what units are really bad out of a codex when it launches, buy them, and then just sit on them until GW realizes and updates them, because they will. And then you sell them because that's when people want them and they're out of stock. So you could definitely, if you had the patience to wait a year or two after you bought a new kit, you could easily make that work.
So then,
go ahead.
No, my follow-up question then is, knowing that that's possible, and knowing you two have influence and gravitas within the community to affect the supply and demand, would you ever think of like completely selling out and therefore like be like, oh, like yes, Harlequin's one, but this is the real unit, you know, and then like push that insider trading or whatever it's called.
Front running? We'll become front runners of units, just like hype up units that aren't actually good.
Just so I can sell my back stock. Alpha investment that. Yeah.
I'd like to think that we are that potentially influential, but like the 2,000 people that listen to us on a semi-regular basis probably aren't going to swing how much units are worth.
Okay. All right.
You know? I mean, I don't mean to pop your burst bubble, but like it's, you know, I mean,
we're only semi-Warhammer famous. We're not Benjamin Bonner.
We're not. By the way, I really wanted to ask if we could have, just as part of the adjacent show going forward, a still photo of Ben Bonner in the corner. I think that would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
Sure. Why do you say Bonner? Like, is it because so? I suppose
actually he is Bonner. I think that is how he told me to say it.
Well, okay. So you guys won't have
Bonner?
seen a TV show, I imagine, in the UK called Keeping Up Appearances. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
where there's a lady. She's a kind of a proto Karen, if you will, and and she's always trying to make everyone make sure thinks she's a fancy lady, but she's called Mrs. Bucket. However, whenever anyone introduces her, she's like, "Oh, actually, it's Bouquet." Like, and is it B Bonner because he just doesn't want it to be Boner, which it
maybe.
Well, it's quite possible. I will say, like where I come from on the east coast of Canada, there is a town called Bonner Law, and it is spelled the exact same way that that Benjamin spells his last name.
Mm-hmm.
And if you live there and you go to Bonner Law School, it is unfortunate for you. That is not how it's pronounced.
Fortunate for anyone hiring who has a juvenile sense of humor.
Yeah,
like I could see going to Boner High School being pretty good if you
the
have
Law
a
Boner
child
High School. Yes, Law Boners.
This is a lawyering school?
No, it's called Bonner Law though. So
Boner
Law.
Law. I am the law.
I am the law of boners. Oh my god! Imagine being in that school for like the local, like for your sports team. It'd be like, "Go boners, go! Go boners, go!" Like,
yeah.
What's their mascot?
A giant dick.
I can't
obviously.
remember. I can't.
It's a
remember.
huge penis.
I mean, Nikos is saying there's a town in the UK called Penis Stone. In Newfoundland, we have Dildo. There's a lot.
Oh yeah,
like
dildo is great.
Perfect.
And I'm pretty sure it's just dildo. I don't think there's a clever way to pronounce that.
No, they are fully aware. Like they have merchandise and everything because they're like, yeah, this is what we are. This is what we've become.
I feel like anyway, I could talk about towns rebranding themselves to get visitors later. You guys should get some sleep. Pete, happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Oh, thank you, Rob. Thanks for having me. As always, always
happy
enjoy it.
Sound effect. Yeah.
Oh, you got the good. I was really hoping it was going to be like. My favorite sound effect from The Price is Right.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you to you, Val. Thank you to both of you for joining me. You've joined me for, at this point, weeks and weeks and weeks, and it makes me so happy that you're here. So,
how many do you think we're at right now?
186 months. I think you joined me after like the third week, so 5, 4, 20, probably 23rd, 24th week.
That's funny. We should start publishing these separate. We should get an adjacent. I'll get a little Libsyn cooking.
Okay, sure. We'll do whatever you want. Yeah.
I won't do any of those things. I'm gonna hang up this phone and go kiss my son on the lips.
Oh, that's cute.
Gross. Yeah.
I don't know when I'm gonna have to stop giving him so many smooches, but it's gonna be way too late in the game.
16. At age 16, you should stop.
What I really enjoy is how many uncles he's gonna have from all of the internet.
1 trillion uncles. we were saying that even just like there's just friend circles are so big in the age of social media. Who gets the uncle title? Who doesn't? It's very difficult.
like when you had the family uncle.
Yeah, well, you had actual uncles, and then you like I don't know. My dad literally had 2 friends, and they were the honorary uncles. I had one actual uncle. He was the crazy uncle. I had 3 uncles. 3 guys got the uncle treatment. But like now, like I don't know.
I had 7 actual uncles, 8 actual uncles. So
Wow.
so I didn't have special uncles. I also had like 7 aunts, 8 aunts, but because Nanny Sherrod was pretty popular. But I did have one fake aunt. So I Aunt Alanka. So I understand.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I was confused that you didn't get the same number of uncles to aunts, but it's a different
Well,
conversation.
she had 6 children, plus I had another grandmother that had a couple. So
Okay. Wow. I didn't have
not
that
everyone
many.
gets married, even back in the 80s. Not everyone got married.
No.
There are spinsters out there and forever bachelors.
There was
Hell
some.
yeah.
Yeah. Hell, right here. One for lifelong bachelor to be, which is I'm very excited about. So off I go to my bachelor pad, which is just the coffee shop outside, and but it's been a pleasure talking to you both and to everyone on the Stream Street, Patreon, podcast. All of you are the best. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. Look after yourselves. Stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.